everybody, it's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW.
These ones will beat you.
That's right, folks. Big news flash. Oh my God! VSW.
Fast hats know what time it is. Get up off of your seats and bow down to the king.
One of the greatest in this game and one of my favorite all-time people in this game. The Versace Stoner.
It's places like this. I started in a mill. I'm here still in a mill. I consider myself a mill wrestler.
Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW Podcast. I'm here alongside Disabled here. And today we have a very special episode. We're going to be talking with the future, Jamie Tucker. Let's give him a ring.
Hello.
What is going on?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing good. Welcome to the VSW podcast. We're happy to have you here.
Oh, hell yeah, we're live?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, geez, all right.
We are live. We are ready to go. And yeah, first of all, like I said, I want to thank you for coming on board. I've been a huge fan. And, I got to really congratulate you on one hell of a transformation. I've seen a lot of kids come up, and some of them, they transform nicely. Some of them don't. You've come a long way in a short amount of time.
That means a lot to me, man. I know that you've been around here for a little while, so, hearing that come from you, man, it really means a lot.
We're gonna talk about that transformation. When I first at least started seeing you, you were in the tag team scene, and now you're kind of in the tag team scene, but it's a little bit different. It's a different team. You're on an all new team, let's say.
Yeah, it's a little mixture.
You've had some good feuds that have taken place, and and things are starting to kind of open up for you.
It's awesome. I would definitely say that. It's definitely a whole different view for me.
But let's talk a little bit. Start first at the beginning. Like anybody else. What got you into this sport? What got you into wrestling?
So I mean, as you may know, my brother TJ Tucker, he's the one that got me into wrestling. As a kid, it was very normal in my house for us to watch, the pay-per-views. Like, I mean, back in the 90s, we had the good old black box where, you got all the pay-per-views for free.
Me too.
So, we were able to watch all the pay-per-views. And the first thing I remember is seeing Kane. And I don't believe I don't know if it was his debut or not. I could be wrong, but I mean, it makes sense if it was. It might have been. I have no idea.
That's the first time I've started watching wrestling.
Yeah, it was definitely around that time because all I remember is Kane and just being so I don't even know, just traumatized. Not traumatized.
Pete Rose
mesmerized by it. Yeah, dude. It was Kane that kind of got me into it. And then I've just been watching it for years, and then it just got to the point to where I did some, everybody did backyard wrestling, and
yeah,
I got into that. And the funny part is, like, I had no idea independent wrestling was like a thing. Like, I just never went to go see any shows. I didn't even know it was around. And then finally I found it, and then obviously, of course, the dream seemed like it was realistic. So I went at it, and here I am.
And that's the thing. I think let's just talk about it a little bit in a second. I think it is more realistic today than it was, let's say, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. First of all, let's talk about stature. First of all, I started watching wrestling at around WrestleMania 2.
Yeah.
And it was just basically WWE. You had some NWA run around, WCW, but the stature of wrestlers, everybody was big. There was none
Yeah.
of this anybody under 6 feet tall. If you weren't under 300 pounds, they most likely didn't use you on TV. Today,
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter. Shape, size, height. If
Style.
you can move, if you can fight, you can wrestle. You can get into the ring today, and you have a
Yeah.
chance to actually be used. It doesn't. You don't have to be this big, you know, muscular, Hulk Hogan now to be a big draw in the game. That's one
Hmm.
big thing that's happened, and that's really kind of opened up the independent scene to a lot of people. Me and
Yeah.
Disabled Wolf here recently went to a tryout class down. Wasn't a tryout class, but it was like a class
In New England
in New England
Academy.
Pro Academy. And, there was people
Yeah.
of all different shapes, sizes, heights, widths. It wasn't all athletes like it used to be.
Hmm.
And and also there is much more independent wrestling now than there was 10, 20 years ago. Maybe there was still a lot of the promotions were there, but the accessibility wasn't there. There was no IWTV showing everybody the scene. People in California couldn't
Or
watch
local indie
shows
guys
in
making
Maine.
appearances on AEW Dark.
There was no AEW
Yeah.
Dark to draw in people, to give somebody else another outlet besides WWE. Years ago, if you didn't make it to WWE, well, then you never made it.
Yeah. 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 It's
Now
definitely
there's many of promotions that you can say, well, I made it, I'm on TV.
yeah. It's like
And
more
that's
chance
great. That's
now.
great for the future of professional wrestling. It's great for the indie scene. It makes people want to work harder. Nobody got to get stuck in that just working their local promotion every week or every month, and they can't really progress. You can progress as
Oh
far
yeah.
as you want to now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy. I just saw. Was it a couple days ago? BRG was on AEW Dark. Like stuff like that. Like obviously, like I'm very familiar with BRG and like
Yeah,
the guys
this
that
is
like
someone you can
go
you
with
can
every
go
weekend.
watching Top Rope.
Teddy Goods was
Ted
on.
Goods was been on
Yep, Teddy
double
Goods.
shows.
Oh man, how could I forget that? Yeah, Teddy Goods. Yeah, like dude, it's just weird. Like you're seeing these guys every weekend, and they're like literally so local to you, and here they are, and they're on, whether it's AEW Dark or SmackDown or NXT, whatever the case may be. Like the dream has never been so like close. You know what I mean? To
No,
where
and it's
it's
great.
just it's
We've been
possible.
to a bunch of AEWs here, and then the last two had the Rampage and the Dark going on, and we saw the local people wrestling, and we get to see our
Hmm.
friends on TV, and it's nice, and I feel good for them because people work their ass off, and it's nice recognition sometimes to break out that bubble. Maybe
Hell
you're
yeah,
not gonna get the best match or the outcome that you want, but you know what? That's part of wrestling. You can win with losing in this game. And
exactly.
it's great to see a lot of people
The
get that
performance,
extra
yeah.
little kind of nudge. Their name gets out there, their social media picks up, they maybe get new
Hmm.
bookings, maybe they can travel a little bit, they get new fan bases. That's why
Yep.
we opened up this VSW podcast. We'd go to these local shows every weekend, in and out. And, there's great wrestling. It doesn't matter where I went, Proving Ground, NCW, Beyond Wrestling, Limitless, all, putting on
Yeah.
5-star matches, great shows.
Oh yeah.
But the only
Yeah.
problem was that it wasn't getting enough ears and eyes. Not enough people were watching it. Not enough
Only
people
the
were seeing
local
it.
towns of where the
Just
venue
local
is.
towns and venues and friends of friends. So I'm like, let's start pushing. Let's start pushing everything we can. See how far
Yeah.
we can get it out there. Because now I got people in the UK hitting me up talking chaotic wrestling and NCW with me once a month. I got other
That's so
fans in
cool.
around the country talking. And that's great because it's a local indie scene. That's great to bring in national.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's really cool.
You
You
know.
know.
So you saw Kane on TV. You wanted to be a pro wrestler. You did the whole backyardian thing. You probably went to some kind of school. Or been some kind of training.
Yes. I can't necessarily say that I was ever trained by like one person. Like the weird thing about it is it's kind of like a group effort, and if the best thing that I can say to kind of like summarize it is obviously you're familiar with the RWA Chop Shop and
Yep.
the best thing I can say to summarize my training would be I was an RWA chop shop project, if
So
that makes any
basically, yeah, and
sense.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you
Like
that's actually
I,
honestly, in a lot of ways, is the best way to go. You're getting the best of everybody that walked through there, and the chop shop prior, with RWA, was like a place with many, many different promotions ran, and it
yeah,
had a lot of different talented people, and you could pick up a lot of different styles. So I mean, that's really great to come out of there with
yeah,
all that knowledge and wisdom, and just be like, okay, here I am.
yeah. Like I mean, I did a handful of trainings with JT Dunn. I've done seminars with Anthony Green. Um, before his WWE days. And then most of the guys, the top guys at RWA, kind of had a hand in teaching me things, whether I was in the ring with them or behind the scenes. If, especially the guys that have came through RXW, uh, like obviously like Mike Montero, Jason Devine, Ricky Medeiros, Mike Rasa, just to name a few. Like those are the guys that work with me. Even also, I'm forgetting Chris Pyro. Like
Yep.
those guys came through RSW, and every time I stepped in the ring with them, it was like you know I just kept getting better and better, and they kept teaching me a lot. Even if I wasn't working with them, like just after a match of working with somebody else, they'd give me teach me a lot of things and what I could have done better, uh, stuff like that.
So
So
you got the feedback, it wasn't just, pats on the back, hey, great job, but no, you got the real deal experience. If you they thought you could do better, you got told it, and you kind of soaked it all up like a sponge.
yes, yes. It was
Which is
one of those
great. I
things
mean, that's the
where
way to do it, to be honest with you. And you mentioned Anthony Green, and honestly, he's one of the people that I feel like soaks everything up like a sponge. Dude goes to WWE, he gets let go, but he comes back better than ever with all new ideas and helps the whole industry explode. I
oh
mean,
yeah, dude, he's
it's
definitely one of the
people like
best.
that really are pioneers in this, and at least in the local indie scene. JT Dunn, another one that you mentioned, he's everywhere, but he's one of the greatest, you know, people to work with outside the ring, and he
Yeah,
does a lot for the industry. Him and the unit are
yes.
running rampant right now, and it's probably the best
Stable since the
stable
Shield.
since the Shield. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get that much in the indie scenes, and a lot of the times the storylines and all that don't get there. So it's nice to see all that. So
hmm
you trained in there. So you'd say your debut would be in RWA, would be your debut promotion.
RSW would probably be my debut promotion. I was there for, sheesh, I don't even know. I haven't even thought of that honestly. But so I've been there since 2013 until the pandemic.
Yeah.
So was that roughly 2020? So that's about 7 years of hard work there. And then I don't think I mean obviously I like a lot of the work that I did in RSW, I'm really proud of. And it was one of the places where I busted my ass and really grew. And then I feel like it didn't like my career didn't take off until I started when I came back to the RWA in 2019, and then started wrestling for Proving Ground. Until then, like I don't know where I would have gone, but wrestling coming back to the RWA and debuting for the Proving Ground uh, certainly helped, and obviously I'm still there to this day. So,
Yeah. And
Yes.
I did. Would you debut with the young guns there? You, AJP there, Harry Brooks.
yep, yep. That was something that kind of came really unexpected because obviously before the Young Guns, I was already in the team with a couple of my friends from RSW, Chaz Marinelli and LDB. Um, so obviously the Young Guns thing happened, and it was one of those scenarios where that was my thing in the RWA, and I soon became my thing in PG that I was a part of. Um, so it kind of was something that transpired out of just someone saying something like, "Oh, these guys are the Young Guns," and obviously it became a thing where we started tagging, and it came a thing of its own just through
Kind of just
someone.
it kind of just stuck and just kind of grew and
Yep,
grew. And I mean,
yep.
I
It's
mean,
just one of those
don't get me
things.
wrong, you guys had good chemistry.
Good chemistry
Uh,
with friends is important.
Yeah, it is. I had a lot of chemistry with AJP, Hotshot Deshaun. I didn't really get to work a lot with Harry Brooks as much as I would have liked to, just because he was always the bad guy out of the group. Like he didn't want to accept the fact that he was a young gun, but he's a young gun. But like
Yeah.
I did a lot of tag matches with Hotshot Deshaun and AJP, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you guys were, kind of big baby faces, and I'm
Hmm.
not really a big fan of baby face wrestlers. I won't. I'll be honest. They kind of annoy me a lot. Um, just I don't know. It's just something about them. It's always been like that since the '80s. There's no way of really changing me. But I can respect good tag teams, and I would like to see you guys wrestle. I've even seen you. I think you did even a match. Yeah, I saw you win.
PG.
It was yeah when we went during the taping though. I think we were at that taping.
Yeah.
What for PG or
PG, yeah, the tournament. It
yeah.
was a
Oh
doubleheader with
yeah.
a Mac Attack show.
The
Yeah, it
tag
was
team tournament.
me and AJ versus the Hoods,
Yep. That was the
I
match
believe.
there, and that was a very good match. And like I said, but
Yeah.
then you and AJP started to drift away a little bit. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're getting an exclusive because, like, I don't honestly, no one's really asked me or wanted to talk to me about it. Whether people just, thought it would come out in time, or maybe, no one really cared, or whatever the case may be. But no one's really asked me about, why I did what I did, or the reason as to why me and AJP drifted apart. So it's interesting. If we're gonna get into this.
Well, we kind of want to know that. I mean, because like I
Definitely.
said, I'm a big tag team wrestler, so when I see tag teams break apart, I always like to know the backstory. We had a good, like when the Rockers broke apart. Obviously, we've seen HBK put, Janetti through the
Well,
barbershop,
barbershop.
but later on we got to see why. This is kind of the same thing, and in this case, I feel like you're the HBK and old AJP is the Marty Jannetty of the party. So I want to know what's going on here.
I mean, it's one of those things where, if when I tell you the reasons why, it's kind of like things that you'd never notice. And honestly, I myself didn't really notice. It kind of took me talking to Mike Montero, Jason Devine, and Ricky Medeiros, like in passing, to where they were just kind of like hinting me to a couple of things, and in some cases I was in denial about it, to where I was just like, no, that's not really AJP, or that's not really the Young Guns. But it turns out, like, as the time went on, it was like, you know what, like, you're right, like, this is what it is. And it just comes to the point down to the point to where I'm not going to play second fiddle to anybody. uh AJP, he gets handed opportunities. Like, this kid is 18 years old, and for his birthday, he gets a Proven Ground Championship opportunity. You're kidding me, right?
Yeah, he's
Like,
like the modern day Ric Flair. This kid's been handed all the gold.
and then what else happens? He loses and he gets mad about it. And at the same time, like, yeah, this is, you know, BCMC was beating my ass too, but this is before. But the fact is, you know, countless opportunities for this Proving Ground Championship. And it's like, wow, the thing that agitated me the most is, while this whole thing is going on, I'm the one that's tagging with Hotshot Deshaun. And I'm not complaining about this, but I'm the one that's flying the Young Gun flag. I'm the one that's, trying to get us tag team gold. I'm the one that's trying to, make the Young Gun something, while AJP is just focused on becoming the next Mike Montero.
Yeah, he was kind of going after the solo, where it was leaving you and Young Gun kind of just on your
Ex-
own to tag up. Where maybe if you and AJP had worked together, maybe you would have gotten the tag titles. I don't know how it would have worked, but if
well,
the
the
you
thing
know,
is he got we had the PG Tag Team Championship tournament, and instead of being more focused on getting us Tag Team Championship gold, again, he was more focused on facing Mike Montero for the Proving Ground Championship. Now, the thing that, it's like, and I'm all for, my boys going after what they want. You know what I mean? Like, I supported AJP through the whole thing. The one thing that pissed me off the most is he goes around saying that he's the number one Young Gun. And not for nothing, we're all boys in this group, and not one of us has ever said like, we need someone's a leader, or someone is the number one person, and this goof
Yeah, it's
walks
not.
around
It,
saying
it
that.
wasn't called
It's
AJP and the Young Guns. It was the
yes,
Young
it
Guns. It's
wasn't.
the whole group.
And it's like I'm not gonna lie, I love my time in Young Guns. It was great, but it got to the point to where now people are assuming that listen, like I've been wrestling for 10 years, and these guys, I've been wrestling longer than they have combined. Like, granted, AJP, his dad got him involved in the business, years ago, since the kid was, a kid. Like, he had a ring when he was a kid. Like, so I mean, he might have me beat on that, but like actively competing, I've been wrestling more years than all three of the young guns combined. So it got to the point to where people were thinking like I'm just a young
You were
boy.
honestly, if I was to watch you, I was like, I mean, to be honest, I hate to say it, but I mean, I've watched your brother wrestle in reunion wrestling. I've never seen him really wrestle out of it, and I was like, ah, it's another Tucker. Who is this kid? And I'm like, they honestly, they kind of made you look like you were just kind of like their little like duffel bag boy, the new kid
Yeah,
on the block. Kind in the end, you were like the new kid on the block, and honestly, like you said, if you go back in time and you go through the history books, you've been wrestling a lot longer than that. By this time,
yes.
I mean honestly, you should have had a title shot.
I know, but at the same time, like that time in my life, I was very humble with and very gracious for the opportunities I've been given, because like before, I was just wrestling in RECW where and I'm not saying this to degrade RECW in any way, but like I wasn't really relatively known, and then finally like that core audience of RECW, kind of went to RWA and were like really cool that I'm happy that I was there. So it's like I'm just always like, and I'm still to this day, but like more so then I was very like, and a lot of people would consider me being like an ass kisser or like, whatever the case may be. But I was just very like humble and thankful for the opportunities to
Yeah,
be
and
given,
I mean
because like,
honestly, no matter what, there's nothing wrong with being humble in this business because it will get you it will get you far. It will. I mean, it's a cutthroat business. Yes, it's very cutthroat. And there's people that are dying for your spot right now as we're having this interview. There's people that don't even want you to ever wrestle again. There's people that
yeah,
wish you never were even born. That's just the nature of this business. Um,
yeah, and
but you
it's
put all
sad.
that negativity aside and you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You
Yes,
know, but like I said, there's you're gonna have always that kind of hate, but you gotta, like I said, push that aside. Still be humble to the people that have helped, the people that that did help bring you up into this industry, people that did train
yes,
you, the people that do have your back. And you said now,
yes,
like yeah, you were tagging, your time had come to an end, and maybe some insight was brought in, stuff that you
hmm,
didn't notice, stuff you were too busy. You're running a tag team, so you maybe didn't have time to notice, like you said, the little things that were happening over time. How AJP was just
yeah,
in it for himself, in it for the gold, and kind of left you guys a little bit high and dry on sometimes. And
hmm,
I mean, it was enemies that told you at the time, but they told you any which way. They didn't have to. They could have just been like, whatever, dumb kid, just keep working with them. You're never gonna
yeah,
go nowhere. But I mean, they actually did take the time, Mike and Ricky and Jason, to pull you aside and be like, listen, kid, let me tell you a little something. We might be bitter enemies, but at the end of the day, I don't think AJP is in it for the young guns.
yeah. I never got. I mean, there was a certain point in time where I thought, it was, the Young Guns were going to be a thing. And then when I just kept realizing that this kid's just going to go into business for himself about it and parade to be a Young Gun, like it was either I was going to leave the group or AJ was going to get kicked out. But it was one of those things where I had a cool opportunity. Um, Mike Montero and DCMC were the masterminds behind it all. And when I found my opportunity, I took it. Um, and a lot of people thought like, oh, you could have just, hey, I don't want to be a part of this and done it all nice, but no, it ain't gonna go that way. I have a real
That's
problem
not the nature of
in
the
heat with
biz. Like I
AJ.
said before, it's a
Yes,
cutthroat business. You got to do it really cutthroat if you want to actually
yes,
be effective. And what you did was effective.
Yes, it was honestly the best thing that I probably could have ever done. I don't regret it to this day. If I had the chance to do it 10 times, I would do it 10 times, 100 times over if I could, just to relive that moment. Uh, it really did a lot for me, and since then, I feel like things have never been better. So
It's
I
honestly
don't.
like a boy to a man in this industry for you. I mean, you've made like a 360. You can see it in your
It
physique.
is.
You put on mass, you put on muscle.
Grew up in the
Yes.
ranks.
And it's really serving you kind of its purpose. I think you gained a lot more respect. I know that you're gonna have your haters again. There's gonna be people that've been like, yeah, you could have done it this way. Hey, he was your good friend. Well, yeah, but that's not this business. At the end of the day, it's every man for himself.
It is. I
You
mean, in
know.
the end, I never really, like, to this day, I don't think of AJ was ever a good friend to me. So it was very easy. It made the whole hearing about deep down what other people thought and what, in turn, turned into what I felt. It made the whole decision much more easier to make. Um, and now look at HJ. Where is he? He hasn't right now. He has an identity crisis. He doesn't even know who the hell he is right now with the Young Guns, or what even the Young
I
Guns
think
even
he
are
got
at this
banned. I
point.
think he's been banned from one promotion.
Wow.
He's been banned from the Proving Ground just because he just made a very stupid mistake of attacking me in front of the live audience when he should have been smart enough to realize that I was in the back the entire time, where, he didn't, where he could have easily found me. But no, he waited until we are in front of the crowd because that's what
And I'll tell
AJP
you, I mean,
needs.
Derek Simonetti, he's a great guy, but at the end of the day, he's also a businessman, and he's kind of like a little Vince. If it doesn't, he wants things to look good, and if you're gonna make things look bad, he's gonna make it bad for you. That's the
Yeah.
way he
Well, I mean,
works.
I'm surprised because it just seems like Derek Simonetti is like, he had like AJP, you know, they're like in cahoots with each other. You know what I mean? Derek Simonetti giving AJP all these championship opportunities, and it's about damn time that he does something to AJ and punishes him for getting all, doing all
I
this.
mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to look at really who runs that place, and that is you guys. You know what I'm saying? It is the Dirt
Hell
City
yeah.
Murder Crew that runs Proving Ground. Yeah, you could say the Dick Busters, but I mean, what happened to them?
Yeah,
Unburied. Don't even know why.
they're dead, man, just
They're
like the
fighting
Young
each
Guns.
other. They don't even know what's going on either. I mean, everybody. I mean, you got Sean Leader. He's got like 10 belts now. He's the new.
Yeah.
He's the new Tony Spencer. And you got poor Tony's got like no belts left. Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of things, a lot
That's
of changes, a lot of
horrible
things
to go
happening.
from being champion of 3 states.
Oh yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, you know, like I said, you're doing you now, and it's working out great. What's your future plans here? You got a couple promotions you're in. You plan on trying to go to other promotions?
So I've dipped my feet into NCW
Yep.
just recently. I'm hoping maybe I can get into there soon with my boys. Um, Besides that, I have some ideas and some plans cooked up, but nothing that I can really say for now. But really focused on Proven Ground and the RWA right now. And just focused on getting better at this and facing the best.
And I think you're gonna, make out pretty well. I think you now got a strong head in your shoulders. Maybe you start off a little wary there, but you're in good company. You seem to know where you want to go, and like I said,
Former
NCW is
champion.
another
Yeah.
great, promotion to work with. Another place,
Hmm.
Mike Montero, Ricky, they've all held gold there as well, and they kind
Yeah.
of have run that for a while. And that might be the way to run it is with your friends, and it's great. And it's right now like I can tell the fan base, just got to keep watching Proven Ground. I believe you can check that out on IWTV at
IWTV.
some point. It keeps. I know that Derek keeps adding them on the events as
Hmm.
quick as he possibly can. And
Yeah.
RWA, is there a way to fans can watch that?
I believe it is the RWA Forever. Well, yeah, I think it's RWA Forever, or if it's ever with an A. uh, but they're on YouTube, the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. Um, I don't exactly know. I believe it's RWA forever, but I
Yeah, I
could be
think it
wrong.
is. I think you're right. It's hard to remember the YouTube, Twitters, Instagrams, like all the different, because some of them all have variations. But I think you're right. It is forever. It's Renegade Wrestling Alliance. And will have all the content there.
Yeah,
And like I said, and people can check out what's gonna happen next.
yeah, for sure.
And of course, follow you on social media. You have Twitters and stuff yourself.
Yes, pretty much everything. My Instagram and my Twitter are the future JT. Um, and on Facebook, I mean, you can find me at Jamie Tucker.
Great, great.
Yeah.
And there you go, it, folks. The
Is
future.
there any promotions you hope to work with in the future?
Um, I kind of want to travel up to Maine. Vacation land, limitless. Definitely want to make my way down to Connecticut to wrestle Test of Strength. Um, you
You got
know,
any
those.
W down that way too? Well, I mean,
Yes,
if you're ever up in Maine, go check out the Limitless Dojo. That would probably be the place to start. I know they got like Let's Wrestle and stuff like
yes, let's
that, where they
wrestle.
kind of have
The dojo
different people,
students.
students, and
Yeah.
newer people to the main scene go and kind of wrestle at. That would probably be
Yeah,
the best bet. And yeah, I mean, also I don't forget, the Dirt Murder City crew. They kind of started up there. Um,
yeah.
you
They
have a
when
lot
they
of
first.
yeah, I have a lot of matches with the influence.
Yeah,
With
the early stages of their career, they spend a lot of time up in Maine.
with Mike Montero and
Right now, they actually are going right back up there right now. Not right now, but in a week to wrestle the Maine State Posse at Vacation Land
yeah, I
on
know.
May
I
7th.
saw that. I'm so kind of bummed. I'm getting married
Mm.
on the 5th, and I'm like, how can I
Oh
work this
man,
show in?
congratulations!
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm
Gonna be a
still like,
fun
how
night.
can I work that show in to see that tag match? Because that's
Take the
like a
whole
fire
wedding
match,
party there.
right?
Yeah,
There you go. Take the whole
I
wedding party
would.
there.
It's gotta go. I have to just leave and be like, I gotta go. Sorry, new wife, but I'll be back. Don't worry. But
Oh man.
yeah, I mean, so a lot of good things coming on. We will keep in touch, and
In
we will
touch.
share what we can. And thank you again for coming on
Thank
and
Oh
telling
you.
us the
yeah.
story. And
Yeah, dude, I really appreciate it. I know we've been talking about doing this for a little while now, so I mean, it's finally cool that we were able to do it.
great, and I'm glad we finally got to. Have yourself a
Oh
great
yeah.
night, Jamie.
You too, guys.
Great night.
Wow, Disabled. What a great,
It
great.
sure was.
That was great. I had a lot of fun with that interview, and I have to say, that was great. So, thank you everybody for listening.